Hello and welcome to today's video, where we're not only looking at a Caladius Grav tank, but we're looking at two Caladius Grav tanks. If the cat can leave us alone, we'll get into it. Okay, so we've got two of these guys to take a look at, and I'm itching to get on with it. So let's get straight in. So this first one is the standard Caladius Grav tank with the Annihilator cannon. Now this is the one that supposedly is a bit more competitive, but we shall find out. Not that I particularly care. So you don't get a particularly fancy box, it's just hollow, but you do get some stuff. We've got a very nice looking instruction manual. This is looks like one of the nice CAD ones. So we've got here the Caladius pattern grav tank, often deployed in situations requiring the heaviest of weapons that EDO Custodes could bring to bear. Well protected and highly manoeuvrable. Okay, so we've got a nice parts list here. And then the instructions for... There's not many stages, so it should be a fairly quick one to build. That's quite good. I like the fact that it looks like the grav plates are all joined together, so I haven't got a million of those to put together. So let's put that to one side. You get one of these. This was checked by CB on the 30th of May 2022. So a little while ago, considering I only got this a week or so ago. And then we've got the parts. So there's main hull here, and then we've got the two nacelles are just wrapped up in bubble wrap. So we'll take a little look at this. The release agent on there. A little bit of a mould slip there, but nothing too outrageous. No bubbles. Oh, there's a mould slip there. Look, I don't know if that'll come out on the thing, but there's a bit of a mould slip here, so that's going to take a fair bit of filing. Although we might get away with it where it's covered up by the nacelle, so we'll have to wait and see on that. Plenty of detail, nice and chunky, nice clean logos and that. The back there is going to need a fair bit of clean up because that's going to be quite graunchy. I don't know if that's going to be visible, but I think it might be, so we'll have to work on that. The cells are in this bubble wrap as well. So there's one, there's the other one. So we'll take a little look at these, take them out of the way. That's nice and clean. Nice sharp detail. Yeah, nothing really to complain about there. We'll clean up quite nicely then. So nothing to complain about with that one. Let's take a look at the other one. Let's come away from the gate there a little bit. Nothing really to talk about on this piece either. That's very nice, really nice and smooth. I built one of the little Palace Gravitax recently, and that was a nice kit to build, so I've got high hopes for this. And then this is the exciting bit. Ginormous base. Looks like 140 mil or something oval. Massive. One of these weird little stubby flight stands. Iliastus 1. So this has got, there's no mould slips or anything in there. It looks like no real warping. That's pretty good for a long thin piece. Let's have a look at the other one, see if we're still lucky. So far so good. A little bit of a mould slip there, but we should be okay. That's not too bad. This looks like the main body of the turret. Nice and clean. That will just drop in. Mould slip along here, that's quite nasty, that, because that'll be a real bastard to get rid of. Hopefully you won't see it too much, but we'll see. And then on the other side as well. That was a bit disappointing, but hopefully it'll be alright. Some little grav plates, they look okay. So we've got going on. That looks like the engine. Nothing there to write home around, nice and clean, sharp detail. Bit of a slip there, but nothing too bad, that should be easy enough to clean. Funny little bottom plate. And also we've got some sort of engine. No slips that I can see on it. Looks alright. The other one, oh, that's a bit ugly there, but I think that's going to be covered up, so I think we'll go over that. Two little engines here, little slip there. Again, that should clean up okay with a bit of sandpaper. I think we've looked at both sets of these already. Some nozzles. They are okay. Whatever these flat panels are. They don't look warped, which is a good start. Then I've got some weird little pipes and stuff, which look quite clean actually. So far so good. So there's really not been much to talk about here. It's in pretty good condition. There's a couple of slips, a little one there, but nothing too outrageous. I can't see any warping that needs dealing with, so I'm overall pretty pleased with that. So let's chuck these bits back in here and we'll take a look at the other one. Now this was the standard Caladius Grav tank with the Eliastus. Oh, I'm really knocking bits off the sprue. But let's take a look. This is out of the way. At the Annihilator. I think I prefer the turret from the standard model, but I still quite like the Annihilator. And it's going to hopefully fill a little bit of an anti-tank role for my Custodes, because I don't really like relying on the bikes with only strength 8. So this one was done on the 16th of June, which is ironic because this is actually an older one that I've owned for a bit longer. 2022. We've got another nice CAD manual. I think it's pretty much the same. Annihilator variant is armed with an enhanced capacitor-fed Arachnus heavy blaze cannon, a las weapon so powerful it can breach the armour of some of the most heavily armoured war machines on the battlefields of the Great Crusade and the Horus Heresy. Ooh, nice. That's pretty much the same. It's just the turret that really any different. So we'll take a look at that closer when I build it. Let's see about the resins. We've got another giant base. Loads of... Look at the amount of bubble wrap in this. It's mad. So main hull here. Little slip there. Oh, that's quite a big slip. That's going to be a little bit of annoying to clean. Don't know if the camera can pick that up. And the same on the other side, but not quite so bad. So that's okay. Nothing in the bottom there is there. No, it's not amazing, but it's not too bad either. Wrap this up a bit strangely. So here is the nacelles. It's got that weird release agent on there. That's going to be a big pig to clean. I'll have to scrub that out later. No slips or warpage or anything particularly nasty. No bubbles. Little bubble there, but that's not going to be able to see that. So that's all right. That's one of the nacelles. And then we've got the other one here. More of that horrible release agent. Oh, look at that. There's a nasty slip all the way down the centre of this one. That's going to be an absolute bastard to try and... That's funny, look. Slightly different. That's going to be an absolute bastard to try and clean that up. So that's going to be a real pig. Not looking forward to doing that. Other than that, at least it's on the bottom, I suppose. When it's on the space, you won't be able to see it. So that's those main big bits. Let's take a look at the little bits. So lots more little tiny bits here. We've got some cable-y thingies. They look all right, a bit mucky, but they'll clean up. Another one of those round bits that is warped to all fuckery. But doesn't matter too much because it only just goes on the base. That looks like one of the guns. There's nothing. It's a bit bent upwards, but not too bad. That's doable. That's not too big a deal. The other one looks fairly clean. Put these over here so I don't get muddled up again. Looks like an engine. Bit of clean up needed here and there, but no major problems. That looks like our turret. Horrible release agent. Oh, it's nasty and slimy. It's going to take a lot of scrubbing on the paint. There's no way going to stick to that. Engine. Bits. More engines. Oh, big slip there. And there. They are okay. They're no warping or anything. More pieces. Random bits. Engine. That's like the top of our turret. That's nice and clean. Lovely detail in there. Really clean vents and things. So that's good. More grav plates. look like capacitors for the gun, and then some random little bits that have snapped off their sprues, so they're going to be a little bit of a pig. So I'm going to start putting these together. You'll join me back in a day or so when I've got them all scrubbed, all dried and all built, and then we'll talk about that, how the building process was and how they look when they're all finished. So join me in a moment for the rest of the review. And so you rejoin me with our 2 grav tanks all finished. So here we have the Iliassus accelerator cannons, and here we have the other one, Annihilator, whatever it's called. So overall thoughts with them, the kits were okay. They're not quite as nice as the Caladius Grav attack that I've also built, but they went together okay. If I just whip the turrets off. Now turrets are a little bit loose at the moment. I think I'm going to magnetise in here because they're just too floppy on the top here. And I don't like that. It'd be alright if I glued them, but if you want them to move, I'm going to suggest it using magnets. Now, they're using these funny little mini flight stand things. And then the idea is you're supposed to glue that on there, and then this mounts in the hole in the bottom there, which is fine, but you do get a little bit of droop if you just leave it on there. So if you don't want that droop, and you want it to stay nice and flat, I think you're going to have to glue it. I'm going to glue mine. I'm not that worried about being able to take them off the base because it's not adding that much to it, and it means I can not worry about painting the bottom, to be honest. So that's where that is. Now, if I just whip the turrets off of both these. Now, the turrets themselves are lovely. They've gone together nicely. There's no real gaps. There's a little bit of one there that I might try and fill in, but it's nothing major. And once that's painted, it's not going to be too obvious. And this one, likewise, nicely done. No real gaps or anything on there. That's fine. I'm very happy with this one. Indeed, in fact, I think this one's gone together nicer than the Annihilator did. But the bit that I wasn't so pleased about is actually on the back of these tanks, and you can see where I've had to use quite a lot of filler in there to try and fill in these gaps, and it's pretty ugly around the edges here. The gates are mounted directly onto the back, and that goes on an outwards facing section of the tank, and they are quite obvious at the back there where they were cut away and sanded smooth. Now, I think with a bit more time and a bit more working on it, we can probably clean them up a touch, but it was still quite a lot of work to do. And in particular, the bit that really sort of bugged me was some of the areas around here, and you can see that's a really big gap in there, and I've been working on that and slowly putting in filler, and I will put some more filler in there, but it's really not that good, and that upset me a bit, to be honest. Overall, it's a lovely kit. They're a lot of money. They're about £100 each now these days, which is a lot for a toy tank, but they're not bad. I just wish that the quality was a little bit higher on these than it actually was. So the actual base of the tank is identical, so you can put both turrets on either one. So there's it with the Annihilator turret, and there's it with the Iliassus. You can't buy the turret separately though, so I'm not sure what benefit that gains us. So we'll put that back on there just so we can do a couple of size comparisons. So here it is next to a Custodian Guard. So the Custodian Guard, the tip of his spear kind of lines up just below the top of that turret. And his plume kind of lines up with the nacelles here as well. So it's a fairly chunky tank. It's pretty big. If we put a Dreadnought next to it, again, the top of the Dreadnought and the top of the turret do seem to line up, and that's the case with both of these turrets. There's not much of a height difference. This one's ever so slightly taller, but not by much, and only on these little tiny bits at the back here. If you were wondering how it looks compared to a Space Marine vehicle, this is the Laser Destroyer, and the Laser Destroyer is significantly smaller. It's kind of the same size as the Caladius, kind of its main hull. You know, it's got a little bit of a bigger gun. It's a lot lighter kit, which is to be expected because it's hollow, whereas this one is just a big chunk of resin. This thing weighs a ton. But it is still, they are comparable to each other. They do look fairly similar on the table. The fact that this one costs about £40 more than this one is a little steep. But you are paying for all that resin. Like I say, this is a very heavy beast. Overall, I think it's a nice kit. They're both nice kits. I don't regret buying them at all. I think they're going to look good when they're painted, and I look forward to painting them. The slightly shoddy quality control from forgeworld was a little bit disappointing. This isn't one of the better kits that I've built from them, but it was quite an easy kit. So if you are looking to buy your first kind of resin tank, apart from sawing off these back bits here, it's a fairly easy tank to build. It's quite hard to mess up, so this is a good kit for a beginner if you had the money to spend. So all in all, not bad. Could have been a little bit better. If you like this sort of content, let me know in the comments below. Remember to like it if you like it, dislike it if you disliked it, and subscribe if you haven't. And we'll catch you on the next one. Cheers, guys. Peace out.